Sam, which of the Titans' offensive skill players has disappointed you most? Because, pause, time out, sorry. There's a ton of Ryan Tannehill comments in the chat, and where we will get to yours. I have been favoriting them so I can go back to them shortly. But Sam, who has disappointed you most?
I have to go with Treylon Burks, just like you, because I think expectation is everything. And I was one of, I think, very few people. I wasn't super high on the production we would see from Chig Okonkwo this year. I like Chig as a player, but like I said, my expectations for him were significantly lower than they were for Treylon. Tajay Spears, I think, is the biggest product of the line, and what he's able to do out of the backfield as a running back has been limited, but I don't believe much of that is to his own fault. Treylon is the one guy on this offense right now as a skill position player that I look at and say, you could and should be better than what you've done. And it's evident, like I said, in the drops. One 25-yard ball down the sideline that was in his arms that he didn't haul in. It was a perfect throw from Tannehill. Another one across the middle, another perfect throw from Tannehill, hits him in the belly. He probably catches it and runs for 60 plus if he hauls it in. Dropped. A drop in New Orleans. So while we've seen the big play from Treylon, I think the expectation, for me at least, was that this guy was more polished, more refined, looked like a pro, had the big play ability in him. I still think he should be that guy moving forward, but up to this point, there have been way too many inconsistencies with Treylon Burks' game in an offense that really needs him to step up, where I have been most disappointed by the lack of connection that's gone on between him and Ryan Tannehill. I really thought that was very, very legit. I had a tweet during training camp that Titans fans latched onto. Even DeAndre Hopkins retweeted it, where I said, don't let DeAndre Hopkins distract you from the fact that Treylon Burks is a dog. That's what he looked like all of training camp. Outside of the 170-yard pass, I haven't really seen that dog so far. And so I'm still waiting to see it. That's been disappointing for me.
Yeah, agree. And the only reason why I can't answer by Chig or Tajay, look, I expected Chig to be better. Chig's also had a couple drops that have hurt this team. One against the Browns in a third down spot that maybe a yards after the catch could have moved the sticks. But Chig's only averaging.
He probably gets it.
Yeah, I would think so. He's only averaging 6 yards a catch. MB says, Austin, why did you think that about Spears? He didn't have receiving production in college. Yeah, he didn't have receiving production in college, but what I saw throughout training, again, the theme is what I saw in training camp that is lying to me in the regular season, right? And it's the fact that Burks was going to be explosive and have reliable hands, and he and Tannehill were on the same page. That's been a lie from training camp. I thought Chig was going to be a dynamic secondary piece to this offense that can create yards after the catch, be pretty good in third and manageables. Now they haven't been in many of those, so that's not Chig's fault either. And then Tajay Spears was also dynamic out of the slot in the red zone as a pass catcher and yards after the catch too. I thought those three things were something I could rely on in the season.
Let's hit on that real quick, because the way they've used Tajay Spears, I would say, has been a bigger disappointment to me than Tajay Spears himself. Very productive as a runner. The way that they're getting the ball in his hands as a pass catcher has been mind-boggling to me. It's all these screens and swing passes and things that these check downs, and there isn't a ton of room for Tajay to run on a check down when you're not blocking very well down the field. In training camp, we saw him lined up out wide, him lined up in the slot. We saw HB wheel routes. We saw creative ways of getting Tajay the ball where his route running, speed, and explosive yards after the catch ability, his yak ability, was like top notch. And that's where I was like, okay, this could be a guy that, you rely on for 4 catches and 30 yards out of the backfield every game because of how they were using him. So far, it's been like, oh, we'll dump it off to you and let you get blown up if Tannehill's about to get sacked and needs somewhere to go with the ball. They just haven't used him in the same way, and that's been a big disappointment to me as well. I thought we would get a little bit more of like the Dontrell Hilliard type of deal where you split Tajay out wide, run him on a wheel route, move the pocket for Tannehill and see if you can't, find him leaking out wide open. None of that so far.
Well, they've tried it twice, and it was against the Saints. I think maybe one of Tannehill's better throws of the season was the pylon back shoulder throw to Tajay that went right through his. It would have been a nuts.
It was a little high, but you don't really put that on Tannehill or Tajay. It was just
the ball was where it had to be because of the coverage, and Tajay tried to make the adjustment. It was, he didn't come down with it.
The other one, he missed the wide open guy down the sideline on a wheel route, which,
And who else did he miss in that game? Chig. Right? So how different would those two guys' seasons look and abilities look if Tannehill hits them when they were wide open for a walk-in touchdown? That is on Tannehill, right? Those two things are squarely on him. Some of the situations with Burks in the Browns game are on Tannehill too because Burks was open.